So when we're solving the problems, geometry problems, these are some important things to remember. The first thing you need to do is figure out what is the question asking you to do? What is it really wanting to know? Because you can get lost with all these things that you do know and you don't know, but really ultimate goal is whatever the question is asking for. The second thing I would suggest is that you look for all the numbers available and see what they mean. What do those numbers mean? Then I would look for any special shape relationships. So if you know any formulas, that would be important to the question, or the relationships with sum of angles or side lengths, and looking for those symbols that would help to identify that. And then at last, what I would suggest you do, sometimes the question will represent the unknowns for you, but sometimes you will have to decide, well, I'm going to make this side X or this side N because I don't know what it is, but I'll come back to it later. One very important piece of advice is to avoid frustration. Know that for every one thing that you need to find out, you need to have two things that you already know. So if you have one thing you don't know and one thing you do know, you will not be able to solve that problem. You need to have two things to help you solve that one thing that you don't know. If you have two things you don't know, you probably need four things that you do know. So keep looking at those diagrams until you can find the two more things for every one thing you don't know. So let's try this problem. Here we have our little suggestions from the previous slide. We'll wait till they come up. And I can see here we've got a triangle in some kind of a quadrilateral. So the question is, triangle ABC shown below is inscribed inside a square of 20 centimeters. Find the area of the triangle. Okay, so first thing, determine what is the question asking. It's asking me to find the area of a triangle. Okay, done. Look for all the numbers available and identify what they mean. So I've got a 20, and that means this side length is 20. Okay, that's literally the only thing that I have for numbers. So that's maybe a little tricky. We're going to have to figure some stuff out here. So if I look at the shape now, it said this is a square. So it didn't put these little tick marks on here, so I'm going to do that. So that means if this is 20, this is also 20, this is 20, and this is 20. So if I'm fine, that's good to know. So now I know four things, which is really great. I only need to find the area. So that's going to help me to know what the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. You might have base times height divided by 2. It doesn't matter to me how you do it, but that's how I like to do it. So I think I could probably solve this problem now. Okay, I have 1/2, which is fine. So let's keep the area equals the base, because it's a square, is 20. And the height of the triangle. So I don't know the side length here. Let's call that n. I don't know the side length, but the question is height here. So nobody drew this in. So the height would be equal to the side length of the square. So it is also 20. So now I just complete the calculation. 1/2 of 20 times 20 is 400. And I'm going to do half of that, which is 200. So the area is 200 units squared. And that's it. Okay, good to know. That was not too painful. I hope that one made sense to you. Let's try another one. The length of a rectangle is 5 more than 10 times the width. The perimeter is 250 centimeters. Find the length and the width of a triangle. So this one is much more involved. There's a lot more happening and a lot more algebra kind of happening there. So what is the question asking me? Find the length and the width of the rectangle. Okay. Look for all the numbers available and identify what they mean. So I have the perimeter is 250 centimeters. So let's write that down. And I have 5 more than 10 times, which isn't really a number. So that's tricky. I'm going to draw this out because it sounds difficult. There's my rectangle. It's a little sketchy, but that's okay. 5 more than 10 times the width. That's the length. So let's say this is the length and this is the width. And that says that the length of a rectangle is 5 more than 10 times the width. So the length is 5 more than 10 times the width. So if the width is W, then length would be 5 more than 10 times. Okay, that's pretty, I can do that, and I know that these are equal. So perimeter of a rectangle is equal to length plus width plus width. So I know that the perimeter is 250. So now I'm just going to add in the length. One length is 5 plus 10W, and I'm going to add it again. 5 plus 10W. And then I need the width, which is just W, it's 2 widths plus W. Okay, so let's leave this 250 alone for now. So I'm going to collect my W's first. So there's 10 and 10. One more is 11, and one more is 12. 12W. And now my whole numbers, I've got 5 and 5. So that's just 10. Okay, so now I just have a nice, simple algebraic expression. The hardest part right now was just coming up with this particular length is 5 more than 10 times the width. And I know that we've been doing that in class with algebra, and much of you did not like that, but that's what it would look like. Okay, so we're going to stick with our 250 for now. Actually, do I need to? No, I'm going to take 10 off both sides. So I'm going to take off 10. That's equal to 12W plus 10 minus 10. So now I have 240 is equal to 12W. And I'm just going to divide both sides by 12. And see what my answer is with my calculator. I'm going to type that in here. 240 divided by 12 is equal to 20. So what is equal to 20? Oops, I changed those two around. That's okay. So the width is equal to 20 centimeters. That was what the question said. Let's check back. Find the length and the width. So the width is 20, and this formula for the length is 5 plus 10, and the W is 20. So it's 5 plus 200. So the length is equal to 205 centimeters. 5 more than 10 times the width. And so that makes sense. 10 times something is quite a bit. So it does make sense that it would be 200 and something. Okay, that's how to solve that more difficult algebraic problem. So for the questions that you're doing today, I would keep these little helpful hints, keep them posted. You'll probably see them in the notebook, and try those problems. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you don't get them all right. It's really just a matter of changing the way you think about things. So give them a try and then check the answer. And I highly recommend that you try a question, check the answer, try a question, check the answer, because it takes practice for your mind to think like this. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Okay, I am fully expecting some emails and some discussion in the discussion channel. So please go ahead and post in there if you have questions, because I'm sure people in the class will have the same questions that you have. Good luck, and I will chat soon.